One of the big issues facing small businesses that grow is especially if you're selling to the general public, is the issue of VAT registration, because once your turnover hits 85,000 in a rolling 12-month period, you're supposed to register for VAT, and that means suddenly a sixth of your turnover has to go to the tax man, the VAT man, and that can mean a massive jump backwards in actual income to you. And so the question is, how can you avoid this or delay this? And there's basically three possible ways that people try to delay it. One is quite basic actually, they just stop working. They hit a certain level and say, I'm not taking any more customers. And I know of people that providing services that say, right, I'm just going to have a month off. I'm just not going to do it, because in their mind it's not worth going over 85,000, because they've just put up to 14 grand, down the drain straight away. The second way is, and a way that really I think is quite a clever way, is when you start off a business, if you start to say a sole trader or partnership, and you can see you're getting towards 85,000 in a 12-month period, if you keep your eye on the ball, just before you get there, you can incorporate your business. That means you can form a limited company and start trading through the limited company. And what that does is it resets the clock. You start again at £0 turnover, so it might buy you maybe another year, who knows, of trading as a non-VAT registered business. And again, if you're selling to consumers, the general public, that's extra profit for you, and it's well worth doing. One warning though is, if you go over 85,000 and then think, oh, I'll incorporate, you can't restart the clock. You're then transferring a VAT business as a going concern. You should have registered and you should have transferred the VAT number. Theoretically, although I've never seen anyone do this, you could incorporate the business before hitting 85,000 and then disincorporate, go back to being a sole trader before you hit 85,000 as a limited company ad infinitum. I've never known anyone do it. I think at some point once you're a limited company, you tend to stay there. A third way you might manage to avoid or delay being VAT registered is looking if you can split your business into several businesses. Now, this is sometimes a dangerous thing to do. You can't just, it has to be real. You can't just pretend that my accountancy business, I'm going to break it into two, everyone in Swindon and everyone outside of Swindon or something. It has to be two autonomous businesses. There's actually a case on the Revenue's website where a pub restaurant tried to pretend it was really a pub and a restaurant, even though people are sitting at a table eating food and drinking a beer in the same premises, feeling like it's one business. Now, that doesn't work, but what can work perhaps is if you invent a new product which has got a different market than your normal customers, maybe you can start that as a new business. Or if you generally do maybe running a business in Swindon, and then perhaps you could run a similar business in Oxford. You could run it as one, or you could break it into two, and perhaps so long as you do marketing separately, separate websites, you can identify the costs, and they're not just all blended into one. You can potentially break down a business into more than one business, and you could delay or avoid being VAT registered. One thing I should say as an extra is, if you're a sole trader and you think I'm going to have 2 or 3 sole trader businesses, that doesn't work, because for VAT purposes you are the business. So you might have several sole trader businesses, but the VAT man says that's just one business for VAT registration. What you'd have to do is form separate limited companies. They are separate legal entities, and then therefore their turnover doesn't get necessarily added together, unless the VAT man comes along and says, this is fake. This is just one business really, and work out when you went over the threshold and give you a big bill going backwards. So it's a dangerous thing to do, splitting it up, but it's still possible if you're careful.